Hey guys, back up again here today. I just wanted to add on from last week's video. So last week we covered kind of the main body parts, and today we're going to specifically hone in on glutes and upper body, as well as obviously the core. So a little bit through the shoulders and arms. We're going to use the core obviously, and then the glutes. We're going to do a side leg series just to activate those glute muscles a little bit more. As I said before last week, I was waiting on these resistance tubes, which have arrived, which is great. So the tubes give you that handle, which is a little bit easier when you're trying to replicate the reformer movements on the mat. But as I said before, you don't need to have the tubes, it just makes it a little bit easier for you. The bands will still work for you, you just might need to create some handles on the ends of the bands. Or you can do these without anything at all and just use body weight. The resistance is obviously just that extra dimension, that challenge and support, which obviously the reformer offers as well. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you need me to go through specifically, if you have any injuries or anything like that, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So I'm going to start off as we do from to warm up. We're going to do the 100. I'm going to do it with the resistance tubes. So it's really important obviously to warm up before we do any of these movements. So I'd advise either to do your leg work or the 100 before you kind of commence going into any of the further movements in the videos. And yeah, so we'll take it from there. Any questions, just let me know, and I'll pop up the video or the online link for where I got these resistance tubes if you want to order your own. Okay. So to get started, like I said, we're going to come into the 100, but as always, we come in through that roll down just so we can work through that spine and activate the core a little bit more. So hook the rope or the band below the ball of the feet, cross it over, and then just take the handles for the ends of your strap. Inhale at the top when you're on those sit bones. Exhale to roll off the sit bones, rolling through sacrum, curving down that spine, all the way down until you're lying back. And then once you're lying back here, we bring the knees in and over those hips, flexing then at 90 degrees. Heels in line with knees, knees over hips. And you can hold the straps here for the moment. I'm going to bring them up over the shoulders with the wrists. Inhale. As you exhale, we're going to lower the arms down as you start to lift the head, neck and shoulders into flexion. And we lengthen the legs here if we can. Lower to 45. Or if it's too much through that core to do that, you can maintain that tabletop position. So bring it to where you can, and then we start with the 100. Inhaling for 5, and exhaling for 5. Continue to do that for 10 breaths, until you reach your 100 and you're warmed up. Stay with it, inhaling, exhaling, continuing, and once you've done your 100, we come back out, legs flexed, feet down onto the floor, and then we lengthen the legs from here. So you can lengthen the arms, keep a hold of the straps or band, or you can let go altogether, bring the arms back behind, inhale. As you exhale, then the arms come up, and once the wrists are over the shoulders, you start to curve all the way up into that roll up, nice and high on the sit bones, and then you reach forward, lengthening that spine. You'll feel the stretch in the backs of the legs. Keep the sit bones down, hold, and then back up to sitting nice and tall again. And then when you've done that, you can do that a couple of times, just do the 100 at once, and then we'll be warmed up, and then we can continue on. So the first one we're going to take you through today is our side leg series. So to come into that, we've done this in the class before. We're going to lie sideways on the reformer. I've got my springs down quite light just to start, and as I said before, you can choose the resistance with the springs obviously on the reformer, but as well with the tubes and straps, or the tubes and bands, you just get a stronger or a lighter resistance. If you want, you can do this without any strap at all, and you'll still feel it, because we're going to work through those glutes as we come into this one. So when we're coming into it, even when we're in the class, it can be a little bit awkward, so you need to make sure you're quite comfortable. The easiest way for me is to bring my elbow under the shoulder, hold your position, and then make sure your hips are stacked on that hip bone and hold it there. So we're going to keep the lower leg at about 45 degrees from the hip, and then the knee bend and the leg behind. Upper leg, we're going to pop into the strap. And this is where your resistance comes in. Depends on how hard you want to work these glute muscles. So for the first few, we're going to just do a leg press. So with that, we'll bring the leg to that 45 degree from the hip. Hold your position. Before you do anything, just check your alignment. Make sure that you're nice and straight. Tighten through the core, lifting up on the underside of those abs, keeping the hips nicely stacked as we go. And we're going to open the leg so that the knee is in line with the hip. And that's the challenge, is to keep that knee with the hip and not let it drop down. Keep it up so that we're working through, and we're going to work and focus on the glutes. So hold your position, and just to start, just a simple leg press. So you're lengthening the leg from that knee bend and back down to that 45. Lengthening and back down. So as I said, you can do these as many times as you want. I'm just going to do it on one side of the body, but obviously for you guys, you want to do it on both sides to balance. And you may find there's quite a significant difference between left to right side. So just take your time, feel for it, and just challenge on each side accordingly. Lengthen and bend. And once we've done 8 to 10 of those, we continue. But this time when you lengthen the leg, we keep it straight. Make sure you're in line with the hip. Try and bring the leg up as high as you can in front of that hip, but keeping it at hip height. Exhale, pull back. So for me, you can position your hand here to keep your position, or position it up here on top of that hip if you find it a little bit easier, just to keep your form. Tighten through the core, inhale, bring it in front, exhale, pulling back. And continuing with that movement. And you'll feel the burn through the glutes. If you feel it in through the lower back, you need to assess your position. Tighten through that core. Make sure that you're not putting pressure through the spine. And hold. Keep the head in neutral. If you're continuously looking at the feet, you're going to obviously strain the neck. So try to keep it in line with the rest of the spine. And continue that for 8 to 10 more. You'll feel it quite quickly. So you can then decide which way you want to go with that resistance. You can add to it or take some off by just taking the strap off altogether. And then we're going to come down onto the mat and replicate this with the strap or with the tubes. Okay, so position wise, you can choose, as I said before, which way you want to hold the upper side of the body. So you can keep yourself on the elbow, or you can lie yourself down and bring your ear to bicep, whichever's easiest for you. So for me, I like to bend the elbow, but I'm going to open the wrist out for this one so I get a little bit more resistance on that tube itself. We're going to hook the foot into the opposite one, and again, you can create a handle onto the strap if it makes it a bit easier for you. And then I just like to make it a little bit tighter on that underside, so you've got a little bit more resistance, but again, up to you. Make sure that you're nicely stacked on the hips. Pop the hand where it's comfortable, either in front or up on top of the hip. Hold, and then just as we replicated before, just for that knee or leg press, you bend the knee and we're just lengthening and bending back. So it's exactly the same sensation when using that strap or tube. And keep it going. Again, just keeping that knee in line with the hip. Make sure you're nicely stacked, tighten through that core, and then continue with that movement for 8 to 10 of each. Then you can lengthen the leg and bring it in front, using those hips instead of the knee. Again, trying to keep a line so that the heel stays in line with the sit bones, knees in line with the hip, and we're not dropping it down here, keeping it up. That's how you set that challenge. And then you can adjust your resistance strap here to add to that challenge again. And then we're coming into your bicycle. So you bend the knee in front, lengthen, pull back. Bend it in front, lengthen, pull back. And continue with that. Again, 8 to 10 of those. Once you're back here, we can also come into the leg circle. So you keep your position, hold, open up, and around. Back up and around. And again, once you've done 4 to 5 in one direction, rotate back around. And then you're working through. Then you bend the knee, take your foot out of the strap, give the glutes a bit of a rub out, wherever you feel that burn, and then we're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to bring you in then for a little bit through the side arms now as well. So we're working through the glutes there, hips, and obviously the core is always engaged to maintain our forward position. Now we're going to work through the arms. So again, changing your resistance to whatever is suitable for you and coming up. So when we do the side arms on the reformer, you can take a couple of positions. A little bit more stability to be up against the shoulder blocks. You can come out to the middle of it if you want a little bit more work on that balance, or you can come down onto that kneel with the bum down on the heels. Whichever is easiest for you, and again, we'll replicate this on the floor. So when we take it normally with the straps on the reformer for this movement, we cross over and place the opposite hand onto the hip. So you've got your strap in front. So we're going to work through a little bit on the rotator cuff, smaller muscles in this rotator cuff that make up the shoulder muscle as well. So we're going to just work on those on the first one. So to come into that movement, elbow is tight to the body, arms at 90 degrees, and we hold. So it's simple enough, we just open out. So you're rotating from 90 degrees in front, 90 degrees at the side. And you're going to get in through that shoulder blade, into that scapula, keep the shoulders down from the ears, and you'll feel this roll between where your arm bone, your humerus, and your shoulder joint. It's glenohumeral joint. So we're working through that rotator cuff. So anyone with shoulder injuries, this may be good for you to do just on a light resistance, and come back. So 8 to 10. So it's essentially the movement of opening and closing. If the resistance is too much, continue without the strap until you get that movement. Elbow stays in its position, and then you add your resistance to it. Nice and slow. And then once we've done that, we continue up a little bit higher. So now you're bringing your arm out in front. Elbow in line with shoulder, wrist in line with elbow, holding its position there. Inhaling to prepare and pull back, keeping that 90 degree. Elbow then is in line with shoulder to the side, elbow in line with shoulders in front. And again, you're working through the shoulder muscles and through the shoulder blades, keeping that stability and working through that shoulder joint. So you continue with those, 6 to 8 on each. Then obviously we're going to turn around after this and do the other side. And then once you've done those, you can roll the shoulders out if there's any tension, hand on the hip, lengthen the arm across the body, inhale. As you exhale, we're pulling up. So think of your wrist coming close to the body, all the way up, and then turns to lengthen out to the opposite way. So you're drawing that sword. Lengthen out across the body, pull up and across, and trying to maintain that stability through the core, tightening it up, pushing through the glutes, push the pelvis forward, so we keep that balance nice and stable. Using the arms and shoulders. And relax after you've done 6 or 8 of those. So roll the shoulders out. And just to demonstrate that when we're on the mat, we're going to replicate it using the tube. Kneeling on it. But you can sit down and pop the tube or band under the sit bones. For this one, I'm just going to kneel, taking that strap in the opposite arm. Just find that kind of midpoint of this band. Hold, and then we come into that same movement. So this time, knees are down, elbow tight, hold, and just rotating out. And you're using that resistance. First one, we just keep it nice and tight, 90 degree to the side, 90 degree in front. Rolling in that shoulder. Keep it in position. And then once we've continued with that, we're finished, we open the arm up, 90 degrees, hold, and then pull back. But still maintaining like you're in a cast, keeping that 90-degree angle all the time. And again, 6 or 8. When we finish, lengthen the arm across the body. Inhale, exhale, pull it up, lengthen it out, back down. Exhale, pull it up, lengthen, and back down. So the more resistance you've got through the band, the more work the shoulder is going to do here for you. So whether you up your band to a medium and strong, if you're on a light, or you can just tighten up and kneel on a tighter point of the band and give yourself less strap to play with. And we'll work through that. So you roll the shoulders out then once you're done, and hold them there. Okay, so then just to come in, we're going to finish up. I'm going to take you through the plank, but we're going to again use the shoulder joints. So cross the strap over the body, behind as though you've got a skipping rope, bring it in under the rib cage, it crosses over the arms, hold it there and then come down onto all fours. So you can position the rolling of the handles underneath just on the palms of the hands, so your feet are flat, your hands are nice and flat, and then keep your position there. Lengthen the legs out from that box position and come into your nice plank position here and hold. So you're on your tippy toes here, your elbows are underneath your shoulders, wrists are on your elbows, and we hold. Inhale, tighten through that core. Exhale, come back towards the feet. Hold, inhale, exhale, back over those shoulders. Inhale, exhale, come back. Keeping those arms strong, tighten through that core. Inhale and exhale to come over. So holding, inhale, preparing. Exhale, back towards those feet, tighten through that core and hold. Small inhale and exhale, back over and hold. So we continue with that movement. With the breath as many times as you want. Tighten through that core. Use that resistance as we come back through to the heels. Back in and over and hold. Drop the knees down and release. So when we're doing this on the reformer, it's called a long stretch. Again, you decide on your resistance. You come in your position. Toes are usually in on the headrest. Heels of the hands onto that foot bar. Hold your position and then lift and lengthen into that plank position with your elbows are over your wrists, shoulders over those elbows. Hold, pushing back and hold it. Tighten through the core. Inhale, exhale, back over those wrists. Inhale, exhale, pushing back. Tighten, inhale, exhale, coming over those wrists. Hold and pushing back. So you can add to that when you come to this point. You can come down into your push-up, depending on how many you want to do, or challenge through that core a little bit more. Push back and come into a further back plank. And then we're going to come in just to finish off just with some thigh stretch work. So we often work through the hamstrings and forget about the quads. So I went through a little bit on the hamstring stretch in the last video. So for this one, we're going to come in, just come into that thigh stretch. So you're going to stand or kneel high onto the knees. Keep the bum off the heels for this one. Tighten through the core, shoulders back and down, arms out in front, fingertips reaching and hold. So you want to think of the body like a plank of wood here. We're going to come back all at the same time. So you don't want to arch back, you don't want to throw the hips forward. Keep yourself engaged, keep yourself nice and tall. Hold, and then you just come back from the knees. Hold. You feel that stretch in the front of those legs. Inhale, up to center. Exhale, drop back nice and slow. All together, feel that stretch, and then bring it back up. Same again. And back up. So just 3 or 4, and then you can release the arms, roll the shoulders back, and we're done for today. So again, as always, if there's anything specific you want me to go through, that should keep you going. Always remember to do left and right side. And if you can get a hold of the resistance tubes, do. just give you that extra bit of work, and makes it a little bit easier as well to have the handles. And I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.